Welcome to Scale Smart Live. I am your host, Taja M. Graham. I am CEO and founder of TMG Solutions Advisors, a consultancy helping businesses in the space of operations and sales, and also the creator of Ops IQ, which we will learn more about on our LinkedIn page, Ops IQ COO in a Box. And we look forward to engaging with you. But I am so thrilled about tonight. We have a wonderful guest this evening, Dr. Dawn-Nicole McIlwain. She is a CEO. She is a founder of ProcuraFind. She is a award-winning entrepreneur. She is also a doctorate of humanities, and definitely someone that I consider a dear friend. I am so delighted to have her here tonight to talk about how to scale in the space of procurement and win big contracts and what it will take for you to be able to do that. So I'm thrilled to have her not only as our guest, but also she is the inspiration really behind Ops IQ. She's the reason why I took this venture to move it forward. So welcome, Dr. Dawn-Nicole McIlwain.
Oh my gosh. First of all, thank you. Thank you. I did not pay her for that, but that was amazing. And you know what? You remind me that I'm the inspiration, and that makes me feel good every time because it makes me feel like my work has impact. Welcome, Taja, and welcome to our audience. Hello.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This lady here is so phenomenal in helping businesses across the country, 28 states. Members all over in those states actually engage in the space of procurement. I could not have gone much further in this show without having her as our guest. I shared that on LinkedIn. So we are so glad to have you tonight to talk about the $1 Million Connection, fueling business growth through strategy.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes. I'm excited to talk about it. You know, strategy is my jam. So we're going to get into it tonight.
Well, before we get started, we gotta talk about your visionary work and what you do in making impact with ProcuraFind and the CARES program that you've created. So please share with us what that's about.
Yeah. And again, thank you for the opportunity, Taja. So Dr. Dawn-Nicole McIlwain, CEO of ProcuraFind. And simply put, ProcuraFind is an online community, an online platform that develops and connects small to medium-sized businesses to corporate contracts faster. And we got started, Taja, because much like many of these small businesses, I kind of stumbled into contracting by accident, like back in 2022, 2021 timeframe. And I had a great life and, you know, made a lot of good money, lots of connections, and then started to feel bad that many other small businesses across the nation who deserved the same opportunity didn't have the chance. They didn't have the access. And so I stopped the work that I was doing at the time, created ProcuraFind to be a first of its kind platform, online supplier community. And in that time, we've helped businesses secure 4.75 million in contracts. And we've been able to bring on the nation's top brands. So I'm really proud of that work. But then, Taja, to your point on the CARES framework, we quickly found out it wasn't enough to just connect these small businesses. They needed to be developed up and ready to compete. Companies didn't just want a small business who, you know, was just kind of all right. They wanted the best of the best. And so that's where the CARES framework came in, contract awareness, readiness education for small businesses. So, yeah.
Oh, wow. Tell us a little bit about what was the roadmap that led you to this? What were you experiencing in your journey that made you to make this decision to incorporate this as a business?
Yeah. You know what's really interesting? A lot of people don't realize this until we get into it. But when I first started what was formerly Queen City Women in Business, because we're now ProcuraFind, we've rebranded. But when we started, that was our name, Queen City Women in Business. It literally was not designed at first to be a platform, a community at all. I thought the answer was events, right? So I was doing these big signature events where I was thinking, what if I could bring together my large corporate network? Because you have to think I had made a lot of friends in the corporate and government space. I kind of know a lot of people, right? Those who know me know that I don't meet a stranger. And I thought, what if I bring together the small businesses who want to know them, and I bring together the corporations who want to know the small businesses. That makes sense. So we started doing these huge events, and they were wildly successful, Taja. Like I never saw it as a business though. Like this is who I was as a human, as a friend. I was just I was a connector, right? I wanted to see people win. And it took me to do this for almost a year of these big signature events. And what happened for me is the next day after these events, people would text me and they would say, "Thank you, Dr. Dawn-Nicole. I got the contract," or "I'm now working with Wells Fargo." And I was like, yay, yay. And after like too many yays, right, on big contracts, I was like, maybe I'm in the wrong business.
Yeah.
But then the question became, how do I monetize this? Is it possible to like monetize your network? And that is the beginning of not just the business model, but the strategy that I would start to teach in the same discipline and doctrine I would teach others. You absolutely can monetize your business model. So that was like kind of the long answer to how we got here, basically. So
that's wonderful. I mean, it is all about the strategy, right? When you're looking to put together what it is you're going to go to market with, you got to really be thinking through what that looks like and how it fits into the ecosystem. And you had already been proof of performance in that, right? In the fact that the connections were actually successful. So well done. So as our format, we have 3 topics centered around what is our title for tonight. And so we're going to kick it off with our first topic tonight. From small business to contract winning suppliers.
yes.
Talk to us about what that really means in the work.
Oh my gosh, Taja. Well, so the first thing, let's unpack this. And I was kind of looking around to see if I have one of my books up because I have a whole book. I wrote the book on this. So let's just say, okay. But here's the reason why we have to have the conversation. There are many, many small businesses out there who already have experience in their field and in their industry, and that qualifies them as an expert in their field. But what they don't realize is just because you're good at being a SME, a subject matter expert, doesn't automatically qualify you to understand the game of corporate contracting or government contracting. That's a whole different discipline. Mm-hmm. And so when we talk about the mindset shift of going from being a small business and being a good small business, like I'm not even putting shade on it. Like you can absolutely own your space of expertise, but that doesn't automatically mean you are ready to be a top contender as a contractor. That takes understanding the language, understanding the pricing differences, right? The way you would price for bulk, right, for a major corporation is not the same way you would price for another small business if you're selling to a small business. So what I found first and foremost, Taja, is that we have to do a mindset shift with these small businesses. It's not just making the connection and it's not just teaching the framework. It's really up here saying, I know you're used to using this word and this word works or this phrase, but you've got to restructure that for moving to corporations. And that's the part that we teach, is not just how to be good at what you do, but how to be a top tier contractor. We build world-class suppliers, and that definitely takes a shift.
Yeah. So I'm hearing, the mind shift and changing how you look at how you're going into the marketplace. What would you say is the common mistake made by small business owners in the space?
No, that's a great question. And I deal with it a ton because you have people who they've already made money in their industry, right? And I'm thinking of business profiles that I recently spoke to. Hey, we've made money. Dawn-Nicole, we even got the one contract. We already have a contract. So there's this air. There's a little bit of like an arrogance, or maybe it's an overconfidence. I'll use that. I'll be very friendly here tonight. It's a little bit of an overconfidence that, hey, we already won once and we've been in business 10 years and we know what we're doing. And sure you do, right? But I think being willing to understand, maybe you won a contract already, but you don't know why you won. That's important, right? The why is even more important than the what, because the why is the rationale. That's the science behind it, which allows you to keep repeating the success cycle. And if you don't know why you won the first time, right? And maybe you got lucky. Maybe your cousin was working there, right? Maybe it was a friend, and that's great. But what we want to teach you is the science behind how this works so you can keep duplicating it. And I think the biggest mistake, Taja, is that a lot of small business owners, they sort of underestimate the need to really understand the contracting game. They think that just showing up as is enough, and they're often surprised. And I could give you an example. I don't want to monopolize this part of the conversation, but I can give you an example of a woman who she was selling juices and smoothies out of the back of her trunk, basically, we'll say, right? She was kind of a solopreneur. And then she got a major opportunity to be a concessionaire at Lowe's. Okay. We all know Lowe's. That's a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
And they have these corporate campuses with like 3,500 employees, right? And so the way you're going to show up there is drastically different than how you've shown up when you were a solopreneur, right? And if you don't have someone to coach you through that mindset shift, now what is that shift, right? That shift is that when you are showing up in a storefront inside of Lowe's, understanding that these employees are busy when they're coming in to exchange and get their juices in the morning, there's not a lot of small talk. Like if it's your own shop or you're at a festival, as a solopreneur, you could probably talk somebody's ear off. You can't do that in a corporate environment. You also can't put up pictures of yourself in the hospital on your billboard, right? Like there are things you cannot do in these different environments as a top contender that we used to do. Those are the things that get missed that we pick up and teach. So people tend to be a little bit grand about their readiness, and we have to constantly sort of help them through that.
Yeah. So for those that are watching live, if you have questions that you would like to ask of Dr. Dawn-Nicole or myself, feel free to put them in the chat. We will absolutely address as many questions as we can tonight, for sure. So feel free to put it in the chat for us. We'll make certain to address that. But I do want to go back, as you talk about, there's the mindset, then there's the common mistake of, they get this loftiness about themselves.
Yeah.
But then the training and the coaching to get them, to get beyond that, right? And that readiness. You created, as you said, the CARES frameworks that really addresses a lot of that, kind of connect the dots for us, how that flows into ProcuraFind.
Yeah. And this is such a great topic because I think that it's in our nature to want things fast. We live in a microwave society, right? We live in an instant society where it's like, hey, I don't want all that. Just give me the pieces that I want. And the problem is that doesn't work here, right? The framework was created to be sort of a logistical order of steps that it's not just logistical, but strategic. And so the way the CARES framework is centered is it starts with helping small businesses understand there's a $700 billion contracting opportunity market that exists. And it doesn't just exist with big corporate. It exists with corporations where you can do business with them. You can sell to a corporation. It exists with your local government. That means right there in your city and county. It exists with your state government and your federal government. So most small businesses don't even realize that there are 4 sectors of opportunity to play in. And they also don't realize which one should I choose first? Which one do I align with? Who buys what? So the CARES framework really sets the foundation by introducing this opportunity. And we've actually coined the term contracting opportunity market, right? We've coined it so that we can quantify it. So we start there. Then after they understand the opportunity that's available to them, we then talk about, okay, now that you know what's available, how do you keep a steady pipeline all year of clients, corporate and government clients that you want to get in front of, right? I'll say this real fast, Taja. The interesting thing about this is that I've learned you can teach a person how to do something, but until you teach them how to become the type of person who can do the thing, they won't do the thing. Now, I got to give credit to Myron Golden because that's his, right? He talks about not just doing the thing, but becoming the person to do the thing. And sometimes people resist becoming the person because I can give you a set of principles and a set of strategies to follow, but you actually have to train yourself to say, you know what, I'm going to do this. And here's how I'm going to do this. I'm going to make time weekly to reach out to these corporations. I'm going to actually make time. So a lot of people will have our strategies, Taja, but they won't carve out the time and sit in the seat to become the person who
Mm,
can do the thing. And so they don't do the thing.
yeah.
But to wrap up, so the second piece of cares is applying for the contracts. The third piece is knowing how to respond to the RFP. When you get the RFP, which is the goal, how do I respond like a pro? A lot of people struggle. And I know Audrey in Advising is going to be on the show coming up, and they're going to be talking about that too. Shout out to them. And then we talk about your ecosystem. Taja, a lot of small businesses don't realize that they should be getting something from their ecosystem. Like a lot of us like to shout out our bank, like, hey, we have a banker, we have an insurance agent, we have a legal, but they don't know how to turn the lights on, like turn that market to life. There, you should be getting something out of each of the people in your ecosystem. So we teach the strategy of not just having a dormant ecosystem that's silently waiting, but how do you activate that thing, right? Where you have tickets to the show, right? You get the phone call first when a new product launches. So we teach people that. And then finally, we teach them how to put together a 90-day plan to keep rinsing and repeating. So that's the CARES framework in a nutshell.
Yeah, wonderful. I thought I saw a question, but I'm certain that it'll come back to us here in a moment. But I definitely want to keep on the topic because what you're stating is, these different sections of the CARES framework. And the one that by the way, I did happen to have
Thank you.
tonight's book on hand because you talked about section 4. And I think I told you when I read the book, I was like, ooh, that one right there lit me up because you're right. We have to understand our ecosystem and those resources we need to have around us in supporting our businesses in that area of growth that we're looking for. And you detailed out so well where to look for those resources, right? And how to make good, as you said, how to turn it up, right?
Yeah.
So that you get the real value that you need out of it. So I really love that particular, I love the whole book, but that particular section by far is one that it resonated with me because, to your point, it speaks to being able to be sustainable enough to take on those major contracts, right? No one's going to grant you a contract if you don't have a business insurance, if you don't have a banking account, a business banking account. They don't take you serious, right? They expect this of you. If you're going to play with the big boys, you got to demonstrate as the big boys do, right?
Absolutely. In fact, Taja, I just did a video because I don't think people explain that. Like what you just said is so critical because I get a lot of small businesses will say, well, that's not fair. I'm going for this contract. I'm a small business and they want me to be a $1 million and above company, or they want me to be a $5 million and above company. And because we don't hit that threshold, we can't be a tier 1 at X company, right? And so a lot of small businesses feel excluded and they feel that that's discriminatory. But I recently dropped a video on our channel. Shout out to ProcuraFind on YouTube. I dropped a video because I think it's important that we break down, and you're touching on it. So do you mind if I kind of break down why that's important? Because I'm big on the why. So here's the deal, right? Let's say that I'm really good at what I do. I'm a consultancy and I've been kicking butt and taking names. I'm good at what I do out here. And now I'm ready to compete and do some business with Bank of America. Okay. Now this job with Bank of America, they're partnering with NASA. They're looking to do a deal with NASA. These are two major companies, right? Yeah. There's an RFP, meaning a bid, a request for proposal that's out there for a business consultancy that can help us navigate this new partnership between Bank of America and NASA. Okay. Now, Bank of America can either look for an Accenture, which is a multi-million, if not billion-dollar firm, a Boston Consulting Group, a KPMG, or Dawn-Nicole R.Us Consulting. Okay. Now, let's say that Bank of America is attempting to honor a portion to small businesses because Bank of America is saying, hey, for this bid, we're going to go for a major consulting firm, and we're going to look to do business with the smaller firm. And so smaller is considered minority, but not ethnic. It's just you're the smaller, the minority, right, of this. Well, here's the deal. If I take this bid and Bank of America gives me this opportunity, Taja, and I only have $20,000 in the bank. I'm not shaming anyone. I'm just giving you some numbers, right? And I almost didn't have my certificate of insurance. Like I'm not together, but they're just giving it to me. They're taking a chance on me. Bank of America is taking a risk because to do a deal like this, it's going to say yes to the deal, it's going to cost me probably about 100,000 to 500,000 in expenses. I'm going to have to fly some places. I'm going to have to meet them. That's plane tickets, right? Air tickets, hotel, travel. I'm going to have to buy some things. I'm going to have to get a team because Bank of America is not just going to want to do business with me on this deal. I'm going to have to show that I've got people on my payroll. This all costs money. So if I don't have enough capital to say yes to the contract, I am a risk to Bank of America. And they've already identified this. This is why they put us in tiers and they say, hey, we're only entertaining consulting firms that are 5 million and above, because the runway to even say yes to this deal is 500,000 for what we're going to ask of you before you even make the 2 million. Yeah. You understand? So to make 2 million, I might have to expense 500,000. If I've only got 20,000 in the bank, it looks to them like I can't afford to say yes to the contract. I'm going to risk this big deal. So a lot of small businesses are only looking at their portion on what's in it for me. They're only thinking about their piece of the opportunity, and they're not looking at the holistic risk involved.
Yeah. What would you recommend to those that might not yet be ready, right, in that tier situation? Yep. How can they approach what is this space of procurement?
I talk about this too. It's funny you should ask. Okay. So not right now does not mean never, ever. And not right now is not always a no. It means not right now in tier 1. And so what a company who is a smaller business should start to do, I always have this notion of clean the inside of your house first, right? So I ask myself, we have the 7 C's, Taja, where it's asking yourself the 7 C's question, right? Is my capital, is my capability there? Do I have capital? How much do I have? So there's a self-check, and maybe we can attach it somehow later, but do the self-check. After you've done the self-check and you have evaluated where you are and you're honest with yourself as a small business, right? Now I want you to make introductions proactively to these bigger firms. One of the strategies that we teach is you should absolutely be looking at who is similarly modeled to you that is a large firm. And then I want you to make introductions to them, reach out to them with your business capability statement, with the warm introduction, follow them on LinkedIn, connect with their people, and let them know that you are here, willing, able, and enthused about the idea of teaming and partnering. Can I come and we have coffee? Because a lot of the time, Taja, they wait until the bid is public to try to make these introductions, and it's a little too late. Start getting yourself introduced proactively now. Build that arsenal of tier 1s. That's what I would tell people. And work as a subcontractor until you can get your capital up.
Yeah. These are very good points. I hope everyone is taking note. Again, if you have questions, feel free to put them in the comments. We will make certain to address those with you. But I'm going to move on to topic number 2.
Yes.
I really like topic number 2.
I know you do.
The power of the $1 million connection for business growth. Come on and share. What is the secret sauce behind this?
Ooh, Taja, this is so good. Again, I just want people to know that I didn't just roll over and come up with these topics, right? This is my jam. These are things that I'm already writing books on. I'm making videos on. So the first thing I will tell you, what $1 million connection is not. $1 million connection is not a casually, passively made introduction. And people often confuse an introduction with a purposeful $1 million connection. And I'm like the queen of the $1 million connection, right? We got our people 4.75 million in contracts. So I know a thing or two about connecting the right way. So here's what most people do wrong, Taja. What they do wrong is they will make a half-baked introduction. Let me tell you what a half-baked introduction is. This is good. I hope everybody's taking notes, okay? If you just make an introduction to someone and you don't share the intent of why you made the introduction, meaning if I introduce Taja and Robert just because I met Robert down the street the other day and I'm like, hey, Taja, I met Robert, you guys really should meet, go be great, the end, right? I don't know if that's desirable or a distraction. Which D is it? Was it desired or was it distraction? Many people are distractors and they don't even know it. Because every time I have to stop and read an email that's half-baked, you make me, the recipient, have to figure out, how are we supposed to work together? right? You're making me work to think and imagine, what did Taja have in mind, or what did Dawn-Nicole have in mind introducing me to Robert? So a great introduction, and no, $1 million connection is when Dawn-Nicole explicitly understands Taja's business, and I also understand Robert's business, and I understand their goals. Now I'm going to be the bridge builder between the two. And now when I do that connection, I'm going to say, Taja, meet Robert based on the fact that you're doing X, Y, and Z. And I understand your goal is this. Robert also shared with me this. I think the two of you should meet. Here's how I see you working together, but I'll leave it to you, right? I don't leave it to chance for you all to imagine and guess how you're supposed to work together. This is why my $1 million connections work, because I already understand what you both want out of the deal. All I have to do is connect you. And then when I connect you, I put how I see you working together. I make sure that there's a link or a capability statement or something that I make it easy, and I make sure that they're strategic, that they are desired and not distractions. And that's how that's half of your $1 million connection. Here's the other piece that people are getting wrong. And I literally had to coach somebody on this. Are you ready for this, Taja? Because I can't see your facial expression. So I'm hoping, okay, there you go. I need to see. Yeah, I'm feeding off your energy. So here's the deal, is that if I make $1 million connection, let's say that Robert is the one who pursued the connection. This is the other half that people don't talk about. Whoever is in pursuit of whom. If Robert says, oh my God, I'd love a connection to Taja, and I understand what you both want and makes sense that I make that connection, as soon as I make the connection for Robert, he needs to immediately not wait on you. And this is where we're getting wrong, guys. A lot of people will just passively wait on Taja to respond, and they just will wait. And what if you don't? Because you're busy, right? Your email inbox is full. So what I train Robert to do is, hey, the moment you see me make that, I want you to come atop of me. Like we are 1-2 punch, right? I'm going to make it. You immediately come atop of me. Thank you, Dr. Dawn-Nicole. I appreciate it. Show gratitude, because the other person watches that gratitude too. Believe it or not, people do watch to see who you thanked for that connection, right? And then Robert needs to be enthused and overemphasize and say, Taja, it's a pleasure to meet you. Do you have time on Monday? I've got the aggressor is the one who's in pursuit. Too many people will wait for the person I'm connecting them to respond. And I have to pick up the phone and say, what are you doing? Did you see and they're like, yeah, I was just waiting on her to respond. Don't do that. You want the deal. You need to show your hunger. They don't want you. You want them. So the person in pursuit needs to also move the needle. And that's the beginning of the $1 million connection. And then the final step is the person who connected, because some people forget this too, will come back at some point to say, hey, just following up, either, hey, it sounds like you guys had a great connection. That's awesome. Or, right, hey, did you guys have a chance to connect? I can't wait to hear what happened. Boom. There's a 3-point touch to $1 million connection, and it feels and smells and looks like money.
Yeah, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. Very tactical. I mean, these are actually steps that a lot of good salespeople just naturally know they need to do, right? Like that pursuant, that ability to just be intentional, to show your gratitude and try to warm that up and bring them to the table, right? These are the ways that you go about any sales cycle. So this shouldn't be, a nuance just in this space, you would think, right? But it's oftentimes overlooked, right?
It's overlooked. And I think the thing about this, people are a little bit too kind. And what I mean, and by kind, I mean, you're waiting, you're a little bit too patient, right? In this world, everybody's busy. People are getting 1 million emails. And so, and usually it's me coaching the small business saying, what are you doing? Did you see I made the connection? And she's like, oh, I was just going to wait until Tuesday. No. Do it now, right? Do it now. And I literally, Taja, true story, I've seen where I called the person and said, do it now. What are you waiting for? And they did it. And because I connected them 3 times to 3 different organizations. I won't say which ones because they don't know who I'm talking about. But they responded right away with the 1-2 punch. And the organization came back and said, oh my gosh, thank you. Yes, I can meet at the end of the month. Yes, I can meet. So they are waiting for you to be the aggressor if you are in pursuit of the connection. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Michelle, thank you. This is absolutely a great topic, and I don't want to rush it, but I also know that we want to move on with what is our next topic. I see it, Takia. It is
Hey,
so glad to have
Takia.
you here. Absolutely.
We love us some Takia.
Absolutely. But before we leave off of this, because I do have one question, could you
Yeah.
talk both to what is the supplier as well
Yes.
as the buyer all the time? You're
Yeah.
in both camps having conversations all the time. What would you say most decision makers are looking for, but that supplier oftentimes overlooks?
Oh my gosh, there's so many things, Taja, and I told you I was going to drop a spicy hot take on this.
Ooh,
So I
give it
I
to
may
us.
save it until when it's relevant. But so here's the thing. I think, well, the first barrier, I will say there's a couple of things, but barrier one that doesn't even get people in the front door is they're just not clear about what they do. And I know that sounds
Mm,
so rudimentary, so like second grade, but we have this belief system, the collective we, the small businesses, that we have to be sophisticated in high Harvard IQ in describing the smarter it is, the more it costs, right? It's very expensive, us. We're so grand, right?
yeah.
But all we do is we block ourselves out. Exactly, Layla. We block ourselves out because what happens is that if they don't know what you do and they can't articulate that, it will never make it back to the procurement person. Because in this world, Tasha, on the supplier side, you kind of have this hierarchy where you have kind of, I don't want to say gatekeepers like that, but you have people at the front door whose job it is to collect the information. And then there's usually one person at the front door, and then they are air traffic controlling the need to many, many procurement and purchasing folks in the organization. Well, if they don't know what you need, I'll give you a real example because I want to make this real. A woman-owned business, I'm not going to say too much. She said to me, she said, Dawn-Nicole, we're doing all the things. We're spending money. We're traveling all across the US. We're going to all the expos, all the events. We're getting all the training. We're in 100 people's registration portal. And when we get on the call, it's still not working. And you know what I said? I said, you're doing something wrong. You're doing something wrong. Tell me again what you do. And by the time I was done, that person kept saying, hey, what we do is tech. We're a tech company, right? But then I said, oh, this is so good. I'm getting excited, y'all. I said, okay, you're a tech company. Tell me what you sell. She said, tell me, what piece of infrastructure do you sell? Do you offer? She said, we don't sell anything technical. I said, wait a minute, wait. You're a tech company. So then what do you offer? Well, we advise tech teams, organizational enterprise, I said, are you a tech company then? Or see, so some of us, we don't know what we are. And this is why they need Ops IQ, right? See, in the box, because they need clarity of who am I? And I think we get so used to the script that we tell ourselves that we are, that we don't know how to rewrite that script.
Yeah.
So you need people who will challenge you. And I'm going to say, but are you a tech company? Maybe that's why you're not getting a call back. I know I've talked too much.
No, you've hit that on the head. I know we're getting close to some time here, and I want to tackle what is our last topic for tonight. And plus, I want to hear this juicy tidbit you want to share with us. But the last topic tonight is talking about the future of business networking beyond the elevator pitch. There is so much that has transitioned when it comes to networking, right? So many different, especially with platforms and AI coming on to the scene. It's hard to navigate the best approaches in networking and how to make sense of it. Share with us more of your thoughts of where you see it going in the now and in the future.
Yeah, there's two. So I have kind of two hats on this, right? Two lenses. So the first thing is that in 2025 and beyond, people don't just want to know what you want to do, what you do. They also want to know who you know. This is, I'm going to say it again.
Yeah.
People don't just want to know what you do. That can serve them. They want to know who you know that can serve them. I keep telling people your ability to bring value through connection is so underrated. people, that is the last thing that most people think of because we're so, right, self-serving, like I got to get mine, that you could actually get in the door faster, believe it or not, to the person you actually want to get in front of, that big company, right? Or that person you want to impress that you just dream to work with. All you have to do is introduce sometimes somebody to the, I had someone tell me today, oh my gosh, you know the attorney of the city of Charlotte? Please introduce me. Mm. You'd be surprised who you know that's golden for someone else. Golden. We underestimate our network all the time. Take it from a woman who turned her network into a nationwide enterprise, right? So your ability to start tapping in, to have a conscious social impact around who's around you, who you know, and who you can introduce to whom is golden. It's worth its weight in gold. That's the first thing. The second thing in 2025, when it comes to your offer and it comes to networking, it's all about nowadays in this merit-based society, who you can save money, who you can make money, and how you can bring a ton of value to others. And I don't mean a little bit of value to a little bit of people. I mean, how can you motivate the masses? How are you helping at scale? Your ability to figure that out. So that's the new networking. The new networking is not just listening with the intent to sell what it is you offer or do. Yeah. It is listening with the intent to think about who you know that can help the other person, because nowadays we're getting in the door based. So if I make a connection to you that's highly valuable to you, Taja, and where it's just a dream connection, a multi-million-dollar connection, well, who do you think you're going to call all the time on speed dial? Me. I'm invited. You're going to look out for me. And in this merit-based society where there's no more incentive to work with small businesses, is this thing on? To be clear, right? What merit-based means, everybody, right? And I'm not talking down, I'm just kind of being theatrical here, is that we just rolled back the incentive for people to have to work with small businesses or diverse or veteran, right? So now it really is about how you show up. We have to lock arms differently in 2025. Okay, right. Louder for the people in the back, Layla, right? We have to lock arms differently now. We have to use different strategies, guys. What got us here will not get us to the next level. We got to think differently in this new normal. And now it is about opening up your network, opening up, saying, hey, here's who I have, Taja. Who do you want to meet? Let me see who you have. Yep, I want to meet them, right? It's playing chess with our networks. Hello? Yeah. And it's about looking at your offer. And this part is probably single most important before I get off of here. Small businesses, look at what you offer and ask yourself, out of these things, which of my 3 things, or hopefully, God forbid, 10 things, makes somebody the most money, saves them money, or brings the most value? If you can't answer that and identify that, you have not figured it out yet, friends. And you might need to come to ProcuraFind.com and work directly with us so we can help you, or OpsIQ. So I'll shut my big mouth, but yes.
I love it. I love it. Before we come off that topic, though, do you think technology will be a differentiator when it comes to how we network or the approaches in our network? Are there things that we should be thinking about relative to technology, or in the let's be clear, with the mass exodus of executives that are happening in the workforce, and they now are leaning in on how do they become their own business entity? How should we approach that, even in the space of the ecosystem overall?
Yeah, I think, you know what, that's such a great topic that we're not talking about enough, Taja. And when I'm talking about the ladder. So I'll approach the ladder and then I'll go back to technology real. I told you we could just stay on here all day, girl.
I promise the audience we will have her back. We've got to do that. But yes. Tell us what we got.
But this is a thing, right? Like so if you're an employee right now, this is probably not a good time for you. And I get that. But if you're a business owner, a small business owner, there are at this point millions of people laid off. NASA just announced a layoff, like the federal government. Well, where do you think all this talent is going? Of the layoffs, there's going to be probably, I would say, 60% of 100% of those folks are going to look at becoming a business owner. That means they're going to need your help with something, business owners. So sometimes problems mean opportunities for us, right? For business owners. Are we tapping into that? Are we paying attention? How are we as business owners looking at this group of people, right? The 60% who are looking at being their own boss from here on, saying, hey, I've got a solution for them. And this is the thing. Many of them will have funding right now. And I'm not saying we're taking it. I'm just saying that because they're going to tap into their 401ks, they're getting, exit pensions and things like that. So many of them will have money and opportunity. How are we thinking about helping them? And I don't mean selling to them. When I think of what I offer, Taja, I never think of it as a sale. I think of it as a gift. I'm giving, because if you have somebody who wants something in it, if you change your mindset and you look at Ops IQ as a gift.
Absolutely.
ProcuraFind is a gift. I'm going to help you. I'm going to connect you, develop you, and help you. So what gift do we have, right? That can help them. So I think that's the first thing. And then technology, real fast. There's all kind of technology and AI out there. At the very minimal, when it comes to networking, at least, Taja, we should be using AI, in how we networking. Like, for example, I see a lot of people do it wrong, where they will go to a networking event and then they collect all these cards and then they put together a campaign in their CRM after the fact. Well, if you know you're going to 5 networking events this month, be proactive at the top of the month, pre-build out these campaigns, put the CRM, put the emails together, lay it out. Know what you want out of each of these. If you're going to an event, why are you going? What is the, not result, but the outcome, which is different, right? I have a whole video on how results are different from outcomes. But anyway, there are so many ways to use AI, and you're going to have to bring me back for that, because I know.
I tell you, I'm so grateful. I mean, the topic tonight overall has been wonderful. And I am grateful that you've come and shared your knowledge with us and the strategy and how to bring value to the table, both as that supplier, but also in your networking, right? Like how to make that connection meaningful in what you bring as well. So thank you, Dr. Dawn-Nicole McIlwain, for being our guest tonight. If you guys don't know about ProcuraFind, ProcuraFind.com. Make sure you go and check it out. You'll want to be a part of it. Again, it was the inspiration that brought me to Ops IQ. Ops IQ, COO in a box. Please follow us, comment, share, engage with us. And we look forward to seeing you next week. We will have Amber, Audrin, and Sonia Peters here with us from the Audrin Advising Group. They're going to share all things about operations. So Dawn-Nicole's telling you where we can get the money. They're going to share with you how to get yourself ready for that money. And I'm excited in all cases. So thank you again, Dr. Dawn-Nicole. We will see you guys again next week.
Thank you.